Hi everyone, it's Maeve here from Midlands Kinesiology in Athlone as part of the Mindful Christmas movement, and thanks to Ciara Bruton from Ciara Bruton Coaching for asking me to get involved. I'm delighted to be a part of it. So I just want to give everybody some tips on our mental health and how to be mindful of our mental health over the Christmas period. We're all set for Christmas here, as you can see. We're looking forward to it, but I know a lot of people that Christmas can be quite difficult for. We've a lot of people that are suffering with anxiety, and there are certain things that you can do, you know, in terms of your diet and what you're eating and drinking to help anxiety. So first of all, be very mindful of your caffeine intake over Christmas. I know there'll be a lot of Irish coffees floating around. You know, a lot of fizzy drinks. I know I've seen in Super Value they're doing, you know, 24 cans of Coke for like €5. So be aware that, you know, caffeine does exacerbate anxiety. It increases your cortisol level, which is your stress hormone, and that will have a knock-on impact for anxiety. So cut out or limit your caffeine first of all. In terms of fizzy drinks, be aware that the likes of Coke, you know, energy drinks, they all contain caffeine as well. So if you can really limit what you're drinking there. Herbal teas as well, be aware that some herbal teas actually also contain caffeine, so make sure that you're looking at the box to make sure that they don't contain caffeine. And caffeine also dehydrates, so you know, for every cup of tea or coffee you're drinking, you're actually depleting your body of a cup of water. So and again, water, our body is made up of a large percentage of water, which is so important for things like constipation, you know, IBS, back pain, skin issues. We really need water in our bodies, so if we're dehydrating ourselves, it's not great. So that's the first thing really. Be mindful as well in terms of what you're eating and how you're eating. So I know that when there's a lot of food around, sometimes we just shovel in the food. We don't actually chew the food properly. We have enzymes, digestive enzymes in our mouth. When we're chewing, it's breaking down the food. So if we're not chewing our food correctly, it can lead to things like bloating, wind, indigestion, you know, IBS. So just be mindful of eating slowly, and also if you're eating, what I would suggest is not drinking with your food. So if you're going to have a drink, have it 20 minutes before or after your food, because if you drink while you're eating, you're diluting your digestive enzymes, and again that'll give a knock-on effect for your digestion, giving you bloating and wind, etc. The third thing really would be mindful, you know, watching what we're actually drinking in terms of alcohol. If you're drinking alcohol, again, it dehydrates, and it has alcohol is a depressant, so it has a knock-on effect on our mental health. And you might notice it the day after you're drinking, but a few days after, you know, it can really drag the mood down and help affect how we feel mentally. So in terms of kind of alcohol, I would suggest, you know, making sure that you're hydrating yourself, because it dehydrates. So little things that you can do: you could take an electrolyte supplement before you go out, and one when you come home that night. Alcohol depletes the body of micronutrients, so things like, you know, sodium, which is salt, potassium, you know, all these tiny micronutrients that our cells need. And a hangover is essentially when your body is depleted of all of these micronutrients, which is why we crave salty food when we're hungover. So replacing that salt before you go out and when you get home will lessen a hangover if you get one. Also, you could put a tiny bit of pink Himalayan sea salt into a pint of water before you go out. So just being mindful of that, and how alcohol can affect your mental health, and does affect a lot of people's mental health. And lastly, just being mindful of other people's mental health, you know, calling in on a neighbour that's living on their own, you know, even making a phone call, sending them a card, checking in on friends that you haven't heard from in a long time. You know, sometimes we don't know what people are going through, and you know, your phone call or your dropping in for a few minutes to see how they are over the Christmas period, it really could make all the difference to their Christmas. In terms of them knowing that someone is there and someone actually cares. It can be a very lonely time for some people as well. So just be mindful of everybody, be mindful of your body as well. And have a great Christmas. Take care.